Hello everybody. Welcome back to the CTC. In 2025, it's match day 10. I get rid of the quick facts. You all know, of course, what we are doing here. So, quickly run you through the schedule today. We start with Racer Saturn versus Amigos Racing Team. Then, Saturday, Sunday, we have 4 more matches. And then next Sunday, the final match for this final match day of the regular season, the group stage. So just quickly bring up the info, and then drivers are eager to go on track and perform the qualifying. So let's go and let them out on track. They want to race, so we won't be wasting any more time. Of course, they waited just for me. So yeah, you see Toyota TS050 hybrid for today's race at St. Croix. Layout B in reverse. It is racing hard tires. That could be interesting. And let's jump into the qualifying session already. Bang, bang, bang. We are not wasting any time today. So here we go. Racer Salon will go out first, and then we will see the ART drivers shortly after. So, as always, 10 minutes. You can do as many laps as you want, of course. There is no tire wear and no fuel consumption in the qualifying session, so straight up, flat out session. And then we should see now the ART drivers coming out on track. Let's have a look at them. We have turn 1, understeer is real. Okay, 2 drivers still waiting for ART. Come on, move, out on track. You can do it. So while we're on the out lap, I can quickly show you today's lineups for both teams. Go back to the out lap. It looks like it will be Mike. Will be our onboard driver, Jakey, Deering, Toby, Kaza, and Shadow. For Racer Silent we have Queenie, CJ, MR, Matt, Big Crazy Bertie, No Hassle, and Kyle for the Amigos Racing Team. And here we go, it is Mike, comes around the final turn, and we go on board. Important thing also to manage the hybrid. For qualifying, it shouldn't be an issue. For the race, let's see. For the first sector, uphill, we go through the SS, should be flat. High downforce cars, of course, those Group 1, LMP1 hybrids. First to second gear, third gear, then short shift to get the power down. Still 60%-ish on the hybrid. Staying in 5th gear, not using the fixed for the qualifying at least. Maybe for the race. We will see 6th gear. Onto the bridge. Tight right-hander. Easy to understeer. No drama for Mike over the bridge. And then the tricky exit, downhill left with a nasty bump. Avoids the barrier, and now up into the final sector now. Zach, keeping track of my schedule, the comments, yep. Definitely Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It is actually more, right? I don't know. But it's not about me, it's about the drivers. And Mike with a 51.6 at first reference lap time, steering close to it. Toby in third, Kazakh comes around. Not the fastest lap so far. Jakey also. A little bit of a moment on the first flying lap. Yeah, but guess what, Zach? I have a day off tomorrow. You won't believe it. Quinny for ART. First reference time for them. P5 at this moment. CJ MR P3 currently with a 51.8. So slots in between Deering and Shadow. Big crazy birdie. We're missing No Hassle and Kyle Games drums. Still for ART come around. Nearly touches the barrier. Will be a 53 probably. Or No Hassle. Where's Kyle? It seems to be like a good lap for Kyle. 51.8, that is P4. So after the first flying laps, we have Mike with that 51.6. Currently on provisional pole. Will this be an improvement? I don't think so. With the slower lap, maybe recharging the hybrid. During flying, 51.9. Stays in P2 for now. Shadow improving. It's P5. Still. Toby in 6. Ray in chat as well. Good evening. Hello, hello. Shaky. Small improvement. Quinny also improving. Into the 59s. It is. CJ on that second lap. No improvement. Maybe they are also doing like a hot lap, a slow lap to regenerate the hybrid and then go for another flying lap. Could be issue. Some of the drivers have very low hybrid power at this stage. For Hassel, full capacity. He could be improving on this lap. 52 incoming. Just 52.7 up to P8. Jakey and Kazakh running P11, P12 currently. Maybe they're needing to get some heat into the tires as well. Kazakh purple now through the middle sector of the bridge. You go a little bit of a wiggle. Ooh, close, really close. Managed to keep it off the wall though. Was it fast enough? Should be an improvement. Not purple anymore. Mike improved that to a 51.2. Final turn. Just over 2 minutes to go. This session definitely improvement incoming for Keza now. Into the 51s maybe? 51.9, that is P6. Currently, where is Jakey? In P11. Not really up to pace at this moment. 2 minutes to go, so 2 more laps possible. So we have the situation Mike P1, Shadow up into P2 and Deering P3. Currently for Race Asylum we have Quinny, best driver for ART currently in P4 with that 51.8. his teammate CJ MR53 in P5. He's on a fast one as well, personal best. And Kyle also very close to his teammate in P6. Then we saw Kaza with that 51.9. That's currently good for P7. Toby in 8th position with that 52.19. No hassle with a 52.7, starting his final lap of the qualifying. Kyle improved up to P3, 51.7. Run with Queenie for the final 30 seconds. If they cross the line, they can run one more, of course. It will be close, maybe too close. But Queenie is improving. Could move up one position into the second row, maybe. Need that final turn. Without clipping the barrier, getting the power down. And it is a 51.6. He did improve indeed. Just got past Deering, who is on the final flying lap. CJMR up to P2, finished qualifying with a 51.64. So, can someone improve? I think Mike got this. Maybe not. He won't be improving. What about Shadow in the next? But needs to find half a second, so maybe Mike got this. Yeah, we don't know. We wait for Shadow onto the bridge, and then we get the next split sector time. The hybrid quite low, half a second down, so no improvement. What about Kyle? 57 exit curve. It could be close for an improvement. 51.9 stays in P4 currently. Queenie on still Deering as well. Deering a half of the hybrid power still available and improving. It doesn't need much to get past Queenie and probably Kyle as well. Then he goes onto the grass a bit too deep into the final sector, so I think that's no improvement for Big D. Probably stay in P6 with that lap. No, he even with that line onto the grass, he just jumped Queenie. P5, it is Kaza up to P5 then. But look at those gaps, like 1 minute 51, and the gaps between the drivers. P2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is mighty close. So, and I think no one is on a flying lap anymore. So let's just bring up the qualifying results. So Mike with that 51.2, nearly half a second clear. CJMR for ART on the front row with a 51.6. Then we have a couple of drivers with a 51.7. That's Shadow, Kyle, Kaza, and Deering with that 0.8 jumped Queenie by 4/1000ths of a second. So Queenie on that third row with Toby. And we have Jakey and No Hassle, P9, P10, and Matt and Big Crazy Bertie, P11, P12 for that qualifying. So we get a little bit of a P break, so that I can use that and just quickly update the quali results in my spreadsheet. So let's do that. See? could be a close matchup between the two teams. So I better get the scores ready so we can show them right after the race has finished, of course. So I'm nearly there. Click in hopefully the correct buttons. And J key 9. See, where's a Matt and alright, so that's updated. Then I can come out of this onto the big screen. Go. And yeah, let's bring up briefly the standings after match day 9 for both groups. So in Group B we already have P1R who won that group to the last match day. So they will be represented in the big final next month, and probably it will be their sister team P1RX. They're leading in Group A, but it's close between P1RX and CLR. Oh, but definitely P1RX the favorites to win that group. And here you see the rest of the standings throughout that season. Quick look at the matchup between the two teams. So 15 points for Race Asylum, 6 points for ART. In the 2025 season so far, and we are getting ready for the race. It will be 22 laps here. Just bring up that screen for you. Fuel times 4, tires times 2, a slow refuel rate with 3 liters per second. Running in the afternoon with preset sunny conditions, times 1 progression, and the racing hard tires available. And I'm ready. So maybe a one-stopper with that fuel. And then you have to decide if you want to change tires or not. That probably something like that. And here we go. The race is about to begin. No one is really revving, so it's probably more about the fuel than anything else. And this time we see the lights now on 4, 5, and it's lights out. It's green, and a good start for CJMR in his Toyota. Will he get the inside line for turn 1? Yes, he does. Great start off the line for the ART driver Mike in P2, then P3. Kyle goes a bit deep. Opportunity for Kaza and Shadow. Kaza with a great start up to P3 already. Shadow P4, Kyle and P5 during P6. We go side by side through the S's uphill. Tricky, definitely. Gr.B P7, Quinny P8. Here comes Jakey with a run. Braking zone for the left-hander. He backs out of it. And this gives no hassle. Matt and Big Crazy Birdie. Maybe the opportunity to go for the run. We see the slipstream effect, maybe also bomb shafting a little bit down the back straight. We go, and Jakey all by himself, getting swallowed. No, not really, he's still defending the inside line now. Around the outside, it is doable, but very tricky. On towards the bridge. White lines, nearly touching the barrier, and onto the bridge we go. Gearing up to P5, got being past Kyle, but doesn't get the best exit. Under pressure, Kyle on the inside now, braking for the end of the bridge. And Toby with a bold late move. Cars are running wide even with that high downforce. They had quite some understeer, those cars. And Toby up to P6, Kyle and Quinny P6, P7. At the front, Mike keeping that lead, CJ in P2 and Keza P3. Then a little gap to Shadow in 4th. This is a half-second penalty, cut too much on that final turn. Shadow during Toby. First time, let's go with the trademark Jaeger camera perspective. Looking at the Res Asylum driver, looking behind. We see a couple of cars following in single file through the S's. Different line for Kyle. Toby focuses more on the exit for the long straight. Looks like Kyle gets a little bit of a draft coming onto the backside and early upshift to 6th gear. So an early lift. So yeah, fuel might be the interesting one. Deering with a moment. Touched the wall. It slows his car down. And also forces Toby into a little bit of a moment. Did he clip that wall? Was probably just a bit of netcode lag, so it doesn't show any damage on the car. For now, he can keep P6. Yeah, also the dirty air, as Ian mentioned in the stream chat, probably quite tricky and to manage if you're driving close behind. So what's a little bit concerning is that like the hybrid is already very low for many of the cars after just 2 completed laps, so the car will regenerate a little bit under braking, but it will be depleted very soon. With the settings, oops, Kyle was a bit wide onto the grass. Yeah, with the given settings, so it's probably not like this flat out race. So it's more about like managing the fuel, especially, and this it could like heat up towards the end of the race, pretty sure, but for now probably best to just sit in the slipstream, save some fuel, and then maybe go for an overtake during the pit stop. So a bit more of a strategic race that is. Nevertheless, it is quite close with Mike and CJ 1-2. Shadow up to P3, got past Keza, Deering and Toby closely behind, so gaps seem to be stabilizing at roughly 5/6 tenths between the cars. It's probably then tough to get any closer with the dirty air. Just looking at the difference with the hybrid. Oh no, Matt. I think he got distracted because also his teammate Got a little bit of a wiggle coming out of the left-hander. Yeah, and then the rear just a bit too eager, probably on the throttle. So that's unlucky for now. So he lost now contact to the rest of the grid, all by himself at the moment. Needs to rely on some mistakes from the other drivers. No hassle with that half-second penalty. Probably will be losing slipstream range to Jakey as well, who has himself a 3-second gap to Quinny in P8. Yeah, the penalty zone is not too bad actually. You're maybe just losing that half a second. So Noyaslo could be lucky. I think just stays within that slipstream range for now. Kyle and Quinny still in striking distance to Toby Deering. Also Keza just a second up the road. And we have a bigger gap to the top three. So Mike, CJ and Shadow, the top three. And yeah, quite a difference compared to the qualifying where we saw Mike not using 6th gear at all. Now it's a very early upshift to 6th gear. Coming on to the back straight. Now Keza gaining a little bit. I think he's inside the slipstream range for a brief moment. And this downhill left-right, a tricky one. Well, 1 second gap now for Mike. Can he open up the gap and drive into the distance? So the end of lap number 5 it is, and we have Mike 1.2 now. Good lap time, CJ into the 53s. Now maybe saving more fuel, losing slipstream. I think Mike just touched the barrier, so that's good news for the ART driver. Getting that gap down to a second. Shadow half a second behind Keza. Was briefly in slipstream range, lost it. During roughly the same gap to Keza. Toby then on the edge of losing that slipstream. While we have Quinny and Kyle still close behind. It's probably not ideal, yeah, that the hybrid is basically gone for all the drivers after just 10 minutes of driving in this one. So, I feel it's like always the issue in Gran Turismo. You don't have manual control over the hybrid, so it's auto deployment and auto regeneration and nothing else you can really do unless you use like this weird technique that applying 5% of brakes all the time doesn't feel right either way. But it's the same for all of the drivers. Oh, Toby a bit wide onto the grass, might get some dirty tires for the final corner. Let's see. Can he hold it? Yep. The gap as close as it ever was. I think 4/10 just between Toby and Queenie now. Heading into turn number 1. You need to get a good run, maybe a little boost from the hybrid to get you uphill. But both drivers are out of hybrid power. So the gap doesn't really change. And this one, Shaky, he closed the gap to Queenie and Kyle as well and brings No Hassle with him. A big crazy bird, he lost contact to his teammate for 1.5 seconds, and Matt, after that costly mistake, driving out by himself, currently in P12. So can he make the strategy work without any help from other cars? The top 3 still with a little gap to the next drivers. Looking at the fuel, so we are just over the 50% mark now after 13 minutes. So you definitely have to pit during this race. And then, as expected, the racing hard tires and a low tire wear multiplier. So it's not an issue for the tires. But it's an interesting one with the strategy call. Do you change the tires during the pit stop? Or you just stay with the slightly worn racing hards? If you put on new tires, they will be cold, will be a bit tricky to drive. And if you don't change them, you have a bit more wear, and you also like gain a little bit of time during the pit stop. Not performing the tire change, so pros and cons. We will see when we are getting closer towards the pit stop window. Keza with a great run, closed that gap within slipstream range now, so it's a 4-way fight for the win probably. During and Toby under pressure now. Will we see a move? Queenie inside. No, he's backing out of it. Wasn't close enough. He thought about it, or maybe just wanted to scare the race asylum driver into a little mistake, but Toby didn't flinch. Now Queenie on the inside again. Trying to explore the possibilities. Let's watch Carl's perspective. Out of the final turn, Toby gets a good run, and he can really rely on that to keep a nice little gap into turn number 1, and now through the S's. Oh, we also see that Jakey now right behind Kyle. Let's see Jakey's perspective. No hassle, also within slipstream range, so I think that's Toby, Queenie, Kyle, Jakey, and no hassle. P6 to P10. Once again, Queenie closing that gap, but not close enough before the end of the bridge to braking zone. Oh, a bit deep for Toby. Little mistake. And Guinea is pushing. Got the better exit. Will he get the run before the braking zone? Nearly there. Toby sends it a bit too deep, but carrying some sort of momentum. I think he feels the pressure now, definitely. Also doesn't get as close to the inside line as he would normally like to. Sacrificing a little bit of exit speed, just 2/10 now. Coming into turn number 1. But once again, a good exit. You see the dirty air, the aero wash effect. Queenie losing 2/10. Got basically the same exit out of turn number 1. Ooh, close to that cross. But this could be the run for Queenie. 2/10. Still a bit to go. More of the straight now, inside line. And a nice move. Toby scratches the wall. But it's okay, he's still within slipstream range. And now, what to do? Attack or watch the mirrors? Because Kyle is also close, but so is Shaky right behind. No hassle. A little gap, a little mistake. Toby under pressure. Queenie with the better run. Ooh. Where to go? Looking inside. Can they go side by side through the right-hander? No. Once again, Toby defends that position, but gives Queenie now a little bit of a gap. Close racing, we love to see it. Probably not easy to follow. They're doing a good job. Oh, Shaky now with a good run. Coming into the Ashes. We see 2/10 and now, yeah, losing a 10th. So it's hard to keep up. Understeers too much. Kyle getting really close into the braking zone. It's 4/10. I think Toby should be fine. We go back to the front. We don't want to neglect them. Mike's still leading. With a little mistake, touches the wall. Gives CJ an opportunity. He has to defend the inside line now. Coming on to the bridge. CJ with the run. We have Kaza and Shadow. P3, P4. Also not too far behind. Now Mike has to go defensive. Inside line. Can they go side by side? No. Whoa. CJ with a move around the outside before the braking zone. Gets into the lead. We go direct to the replay camera. Go to the chase cam and see that move once again. He was brave. He was late. And Mike nearly lost the car. That was a drift and a half. So now it's CJ leading with Mike, Kaza and Shadow close behind. Oh, it was a fake pit stop. Oh, Mike into pit stop after the halfway mark. So the first driver going for an undercut maybe. We see more drivers following here as well. We see Queenie is in. We also have Deering just within slipstream range. Toby in P5 still fighting for his life, literally. The purple first sector. Caldwin, so we wait. Mike didn't change tires, just put in some fuel. And yeah, it's taking very long. Also, Queenie, no new rubber. Jakey doing the same, so it's probably just a no tire change. Put in the needed fuel race. No hassle with the tire change option. So yeah, a little bit of a gap. So he maybe wants to push on a fresh set of hearts now. And CJ with a good run opened up that gap nearly a second. Keza, Shadow and Deering still close. So they are low on fuel, all of them. So it will be time to pit for the leaders. Coming round, I think it's just 2 to 3 leaders remaining for them. So they perfect timing, I think, good strategy. And now in to pit lane we go. So a bit of a difference. Deering, the best fuel saving driver out of the lead group. Big Crazy Bertie also comes around. Will be heading into pit lane. So Mike with the undercut. Yeah, also probably needed to put in less fuel, so undercut could work. We see fuel still going in for Travis, and it's Keza with an he under fuel a little bit, I think. Yeah, CJ put in a bit more fuel. So this could be now very interesting. So as long as Keza and Mike can run together, they can fuel save a little bit. So they have, yeah, say 5 to 6 liters less fuel than CJ. Deering roughly the same amount as Keza. So he also needs to stay within slipstream range. Shadow put in a bit more fuel. He will be pushing. I didn't look at the tire, so we do that. Keza, Mike, ZJ, Deering, Shadow, Toby all stayed on their racing hearts since the start. Queenie lost the slipstream to Toby for now. Toby with a massive under-fuel approach. He might be struggling towards the end of the race. Queenie will be pushing to get back into the slipstream. Jakey right behind in the slipstream race, and Kyle as well. No hassle with that tire change. Lost like 4 or 5 seconds, I reckon. With that, maybe the better tires come into play for the last couple of laps. And Birdie and Matt at the back of the grid currently. Matt closed that gap to his teammate. And back to the front where it's still close. So ZJ back within slipstream range, 9/10. Keza and Mike leading. So Keza with a little bit less fuel compared to Mike. So ideally it would be the other way around. Mike leading and Keza sitting in the slipstream, saving a little bit. Deering is also just about there. Bit of a poor run onto the grass. It's helping his teammate Shadow to close that gap. The gap between Toby and Queenie, 2.4. Queenie gained roughly half a second since the pit stop. Jakey and Kyle, they're also still very close. So it is lap 14, so it's 8 to go when they cross the line. Slowly, drivers might be thinking about going for some moves, so for CJ it would be important to stay inside the slipstream range, and so he has more fuel, can probably push a bit more, gets a good run out of the final turn, under a second. Deering and Shadow, so I'd still argue it's a 5-way fight for the win, with 4 Racing Saddam drivers and 1 Amigos Racing team driver in the mix. For that, Toby, the gap went down just 4/10. A little mistake happened somewhere, and he is back into defensive mode, I reckon. Seven tenths, that should be enough. Queenie, bit under pressure, just 3/10 the gap to Jakey. Oh no, no hassle with the disconnect. Ah, that is unlucky. So that will still be ranked P12 for the race. What was running P10, I think. Toby a bit too deep, understeers, but avoids the contact with the wall. Gives Queenie a better run uphill. That was close. Carried way more speed into the braking zone. Nearly touched Toby's rear, but good avoidance. And it's also Jakey so close. Between, both hit the wall, no damage, but it just doesn't help you with the run onto the start-finish straight, of course. No touchy, yeah, exactly. You can literally feel that car not wanting to turn through the S's if you're driving that close behind someone. So what happened at the sharp end? A race, a little gap for the top 3 again. Shadow in 4th, Deering had a moment, 54.5, and now also coming onto the bridge, nearly 2 seconds the gap to Shadow in P4. Shadow is just outside of the slipstream range in P4, while CJ is still keeping up with Keza and Mike at the front. 30 minutes in, 6 and a bit to go. Keza with a good run, 8, 9, 10th to his teammate, another 8 10th to CJ in P3. Can Shadow crawl back into the slipstream range? Just lurking there. So Deering in P5, outside of that one. Toby still defending that P6, and yeah, amazing job so far during this race. A lot of pressure from the drivers behind him. So I also think he managed to bring back the fuel into a good window. still a bit down compared to Quinny, and Shaky somehow reactivated some hybrid. So I think he's the only driver that has a little bit of hybrid power remaining. Yeah, he's recharging, so he could be the one to see, to look later. So yes, definitely the boosts now available, and might be a nice little advantage if he can keep that hybrid alive. So has to depend again. Three-tenths. So oh, too much on the inside. You will be annoyed about that. It looked like a great run. The run was too good though. Cut too much now to do a big coasting phase into turn 1. The car didn't want to turn at all. Really might be losing a position to Jakey. But Jakey also has to watch his mirrors. Kyle is right behind. Keza has a 1 second gap now to Mike. Let's compare the fuel. That's basically the same. So they managed to save some fuel while keeping the lead. CJ, who put in a bit more during the pit stop, now nearly the same level. So it looks like that CJ has to push a bit more to stay with the top 2. Shadow with another half second, so this will be definitely no more slipstream for Shadow during. I lost a little bit the plot over the last couple of laps. 53s, 54, 55s. So, oh, and there was a moment. There was the penalty. Okay, that's what happened. So Queenie had to serve the penalty, and Jakey just got past him before the final turn. And also Kyle had to avoid his teammate. That was a bit of an awkward situation heading into the final turn. And turn 1, it's like so much understeer, especially now in the latter stage of this race, where we see a bit of tire wear on those racing hard tires. So it won't be that easy to turn the car. So we still have Big Crazy Birdie and Matt driving in. Yeah, that unlucky disconnect for no hassle. So ART, a driver down currently in this race. And we are approaching the final couple of minutes during this race. Time flies. So coming towards the end of lap 19. So when they cross the line, it's 3 to go. Mikasa now with a 1.1 second lead over his teammate Mike. CJ still keeping up with the top 2. There's still a bit of a fuel advantage. Will it be needed, or did Mikasa and Mike manage their fuel just enough to get across the line without running out of fuel, or to use a mega fuel saving strategy for the final lap. Also, we don't know. So Keza, Mike and CJ top 3, then 2.32 Shadow, who desperately needs to get back into the slipstream range, needs to find roughly half a second, maybe a bit more. During then all by himself in P5, Toby, P6, a little gap to, oh, what happened to Jakey? Jakey dropped 2 positions and a half-second penalty. And with that half-second, so he probably will be out of contention for that fight against Quinny and Kyle. Both ART drivers with a good run on Toby, gained 2/10. And Toby runs a bit wide, manages to keep the car somewhat within track limits, lost 3/10 again, so back to less than half a second between Toby and Quinny. It's around 17, I think, now between them. Half a second. And going back to the leaders. Final turn, Keza, Mike and CJ, 1, 2, 3. We're starting the penultimate lap right about now. Jakey served the penalty and didn't really lose that much, and he still has the hybrid power. Can he use it? Also penultimate lap for Toby, Quinny, Kyle and Jakey. Onto the back straight we go, and 6, 7 tenths separating each of the top 3. And just compared the fuel, it is still a slight advantage for CJ, but I think the top 2 will be fine. Ooh, nearly, that was close to the wall. Off the bridge, inside curb, and then back onto the tower again. Good run. Ooh, Toby again under pressure. He just manages to keep his guy front. Oh, will Quinny send it? No, we saw it a couple of times, showing his nose into the braking zone. Doesn't go for it, and Toby also doesn't fall for it again. He runs a bit wide, but carries the speed and keeps the car in front of the 2 ART drivers and also Jakey. Now in the mix again. They come around and they will be starting the final lap very soon. So battle for P6 between 4 drivers, and also the battle for the lead. It's heating up. Mike now under pressure, but gives Keza the needed gap, I think. And Toby, Quinny, Kyle and Jakey, through the S's they go. It stays as it is for now. Keza with that 1 second. Mike as 4/10 to CJ, and Shadow into the race. Oh, CJ with a half-second penalty. That's unlucky. So that's probably the end of his dreams, at least to get up to P2. He should be able to keep that P3, though he's going wide. He's trying everything. Mike playing the wingman now for Keza. Keza should have this in the bag. 1.6, 1.7. It will be enough for Keza and Mike to get P1, P2. What about CJ? Can he finish in P3? It looks like, yeah. Didn't lose too much time, so Keza comes out, crosses the line and wins. Mike P2, CJ P3, Shadow P4 during P5. Toby still manages to keep his car in front of the two ART drivers just for the final turn. And what a race it was for Toby. Well done. P6, Quinny. P7, Kyle P8, and Jakey in P9. Woof. Matt then just a little breather. So Matt is running and Big Crazy Birdie, the two ART drivers, will finish the race in P10 and P11. So couldn't quite keep up with the pace, the other drivers. Still GG's everybody. What a race, well done. Oof. So, let's quickly have a little bit of a breather and get a drink. All right, so let's have a look at the race results. Keza wins and also has the fastest lap of the race. Mike in P2 and CJ MR53 for ART on the podium as well. Well done. Great race from those three drivers. Shadow and could keep up, had a couple of mistakes, close gap, but yeah, P4 still a good result. Deering was also running with the top group and lost contact at some point and cruised home probably to P5. Toby with a massive defensive masterclass in this race, defending against Quinny and Kyle basically for the entire race, and with a great result, P6. And for Toby, Quinny and Kyle, P7, P8. Jakey then for Race Asylum finishes in P9, had a nice little fight then for the second half of the race with those 4-5 drivers as well. And then yeah, Matt and Big Crazy Birdie, they had a little mistake early on, lost slipstream and had to race for themselves unfortunately, and Noezel with the disconnect. He was also fighting with Jakey, Quinny, Kyle and Toby. So well done, yeah. I think we can congratulate Race Asylum for the overall win for this match day number 10. So the final match day of the group stage it is. So that was a good opener for match day 10. We will be back the weekend with more CTC racing action for you. Saturday we have a doubleheader, CLR versus MRL and TCR versus Gen X Group A matches on Saturday. On Sunday we see ZFS versus DTR and AHR versus P1R, and then Sunday next week, the final race of the regular season, P1RX versus BFS in Group A. And but we are not done with CTC, right? So in 2 weeks time, on the Saturday, it will be the All-Star race event. So a bit of fun for hopefully the community, the drivers, and us as spectators. And then we have the grand finale as well. Then in December, the top 2 teams from both of the groups facing each other in a 2 race match. So this could be interesting. At the moment, it looks like it will be P1R versus P1R in the grand final. Could get also spicy between the 2 of them. So P1R in Gr.B, they clinched the group win already. P1RX has everything in their hands with the win. They're in as well. So that's what's at stakes for this one. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. Have a nice rest of your day, a good rest of the week, and then I hopefully see you across the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, for some more CTC racing action. Until then, have a good time, take care, and see you very soon. Bye bye.